What's up YouTube, this is Joe from Zephyrwargames and I am bringing to you my updated Gallantmon deck profile. This is one that I just took to my recent locals yesterday as of recording on Monday, and it took me second place, and this is a very interesting style and take on the Gallantmon list, which you will see as we go through. But yes, I'm very pleased with how the deck performed. I'm very happy with the new cards that we just got in EX8. And so I'm very excited to share with you guys. As you know from the first video on this channel was a Gallantmon profile. Gallantmon is my main boy in the Digimon franchise, and I'm just stoked that Gallantmon is now not only got new support, but new support to make it like tier 1.5, like just like one of the most strongest decks currently in the game. So before I get into the profile, if you'd like, just give us a like and subscribe down below. Ding that notification bell, because obviously if you enjoy this video, you want to see more content and you want to see more. So hitting all that and doing all that supports myself and ensures that you get to see all future content. So with all that said and done, let's get into this Gallantmon profile. So the main inspiration for this list is that simplistically looking at it from like also a slight joke, like Bandai was like, how are we going to make Gallantmon good? Oh well, let's just make it let's just make it a Greymon deck with all these new X antibodies, all that kind of such, go old classic Greymon. So I took a look at one of my most successful Greymon decks which I've ever played, which was one that took me top 8 at a DC1. Or like something like it took me like very high at a DC1 in BT8 era. So I took that list and essentially copied the ratios that list had and tried it out at locals, and again, second place, so I can't really complain. The ratios felt great. There's some slight tweaking that I'll be doing to the deck, and I'll explain those as I get to those cards, what I'll be taking out and what I'll be replacing those with. And yeah, so that's basically the inspiration for the ratios of this list, and I'll explain to you why the ratios are as such once we get through to them. So starting off with the eggs, obviously Digitamer are 4 Gigimons from BT12. Add 1000 to a DP based deletion effect. Some people think you don't need this card anymore. The draw egg is just better. Personally, I just don't like the draw egg in a pure Gallantmon list. I feel like I'm not springing enough to get the consistency. I feel like if I'm springing to get consistency, I'm obviously not doing well. So I'd rather play options and things that can search me cards and see me more cards, whereas waiting to promote a stack to swing with it to then see me more cards. I feel like that, again, at that point, you're too late. So I'd rather use this egg which just adds the 1000 to my DP based deletions, meaning that Gallant X on his own, just literally this with a Gallant X on top of it, you're hitting 11k, so you're hitting the weakest megas in the game, and you're also like your Gallantmon X, your Gallantmons are popping 4000s and so on and so forth. Like the extra 1000 on your things does pump up. Gallantmon also being able to hit like 9000s, which is again very important. It means you're essentially hitting all ultimates in this game. So we got 4 copies of the Digimon there. Moving on to rookies, starting off with our main boy EX2 Gallantmon. Look at top 4 on play. Add a Groundmon name, Gallantmon name, and a Takato. Bottom deck the rest, and then your pop something with 3000 less on attack inherent. Digimon making that 4000. Moving on to a brand new boy. 4 copies of the Gallantmon X. So glad I got 2 alts for this. Thank you, Lewis, for my second one. Gallantmon X on play and when digivolving. Look at top 3, add a Groundmon family to hand. So Groundmon and Gallantmon, and 1 X antibody, bottom deck the rest. The inherent is your turn if something is deleted on your first field, gain 1 memory. Phenomenal ability from the starter deck Groundmon days. The fact that you can also evolve for 0 on Gallantmon and Digimon really ensures the little bit of consistency there that you can start this off in the back, as this deck is designed to be a one stack deck. But this build kind of like finds ways to recur your stack if it's deleted. 3 copies of the Gallantmon, Rush Gallantmon, as people call it, from EX4. On play, if there's 20 cards in both play total in both players' trashes or more, you gain Rush. So we play and it evolves for 0 on Digimons. We're playing this at 3 copies because we want to see this at some point in the game, somewhere where it's in the hand, stack, or in the trash. So that's why we play 3 copies to see it. And to round up our rookies, we are playing 2 copies of the starter deck 7 Gallantmon. Your turn. If your opponent's level 6 or higher, you may pay 4 memory to warp into a Gallantmon. It has to be OG Gallant. It can't be Gallant X. The literal picture is dictating what you can do. The inherent is your turn. If your Digimon is deleted, you get to draw 1. So the meaning for the ratios here is, it seems like a bit weird, 13 rookies. So we've got a 4-4-3-2 split. So the reasoning behind this is that the 4 ofs are what you need to see. These are the cards that are going to help you see cards. These are the cards that you 100%, this is going to get me the games. This is going to help me win the games. So we max out on these cards. The 3 of is your cards that I want to see them in the game, but I don't want to see multiples of them. So you play the 3 copies so that you can guarantee to hopefully see at least 1 during your games. And that's essentially it. These you want to see multiples of. This you want to see it but not multiples of. The last 2 in your deck are your utility cards. These are the cards that, if you see it, great, fantastic. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. You can still play the game. You still got 11 other rookies in your deck that you can utilize. So that's why we're playing the 2 copies of the Gallantmon. So this is, in this ratio, in those explanations, this is the ultimate flex spot in my personal opinion right now, as I'm playing Gallantmon. This is my flex spot. This can be the DP boost Gallantmon. This can be the add 2000 DP based deletions if you have 0 memory or less. This is your flexible rotational slot of your Gallantmons. This can even be a floodgate if you want. I probably wouldn't go that way because we want to, Gallantmon to Gallantmon X. Some of your Gallantmons can only evolve on Gallantmons for low cost. So, but yeah, the options are there for you. Moving on to champions, this has got a similar kind of like ratio style. We're playing 4 copies of the starter deck Gallantmon. So the reasoning for this is, I want that DP based. I want that memory. The whole point of this deck is to gain memory. You promote your stack, you start deleting your opponent's stuff, you pull memory back from, you're constantly dancing around here. Like, you're literally doing this. You're never going over here. And the moment you do, you're back over here. Like, you're always keeping the memory to you. So that's why I'm playing 4 copies of the starter deck Gallantmon on delete, gain 1 memory. The 4 cost drop is also very nice. I did have to hard drop at one point. It did then just get deleted, but I was able to just, my opponent sent me to 1. They got a mem setter. Okay, cool. It's just boom, just jump over there. Next, we're playing 4 copies of the brand new Gallantmon X Antibody. I love this. I really like this card, but I also don't like that it can't evolve on a Gallantmon for 3 memory. That kind of sucks. But, we make do what we do. So this is, again, a brand new card from EX8. So you can evolve on a Gallantmon for 0. And when evolving, delete, draw 1, then trash 1 card. Then if Gallantmon X Antibody is in evolution cards, to the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gains on delete. You may play 1 Gallantmon name from your trash without paying costs. Inherent is your turn. Opponent's Digimon is deleted. Gain 1 memory. Again, all the memory gain. These 3 cards, if it's in your stack, which they probably are, the moment you smite something, you're gaining 3 memory. You evolved to level 6 for 0. It's absolutely phenomenal. The draw 1, trash 1 helps you set up your trash, helps you get more cards into your hand. It being an X antibody is also very important, as we'll see later on. But also the on delete means that if your stack does get deleted, you can at least spawn something out. If you're going for your OTK play, which I did multiple times at locals, I must have done it like 4 or 5 times, just clear board, clear 5 security. It was absolutely insane. But if your stat does get like deleted on like the final check or something, cool. Gallantmon, play Rush Gallantmon. Is there enough cards in trash? Cool, Gallantmon for game. You know, it really helps set up and gives you that comfy stack so that if it does get lost, you know you're not dead in the water. 2 copies of the EX4 Black Gallantmon. We all know what this card does. You know, when digivolving, both players trash 2, then you Gallantmon family to hand, and then on inherent on delete, gain a Gallantmon family from trash back to hand. And then we're playing 1 copy of the BT17 Gallantmon. When digivolving, pop something 4,000 less. If you don't, you gain 3k. Inherent, you can add 2,000 DP based deletion effects if you have 0 or less memory. So similar ratio and similar concept to this. Just a slightly bit smaller because we're in the champion lineups. The 4 mandatories. The 2 ofs that you like to see. If you see it, great. Does help you out a little bit. If you don't, it's fine. Don't need it. And then the 1 of, you know, if you see it, you know, awesome. If you don't, your game plan's not ruined at all. So your mandatories, cards that you do like to see, and the 1 card that if you see it, fantastic. If you don't, it doesn't matter. The other reasoning for the champion lineup being like this way is that I now have 5 non-X antibodies to my 4 X antibodies. Whenever I play an X antibody stack deck, this is my mental concept. I want more nons to the X. The reasoning is for that is because the X, they tend to have a higher digivolution cost, and you tend to get the most value when you have the non-X antibody underneath it. So that's why we're doing this kind of ratio. This means that you should hopefully, and you know, I tend to get that luck, see these before you see this. Sometimes you don't, and it sucks. But that's just, you know, lottery for you. This is a card game. It's still luck based in the end. Moving on to the ultimates, playing 4 copies of the War Gallantmon from BT12. When digivolving, delete something 4,000 S. If you don't, you can evolve into a Gallantmon name for 1 cost less. Inherent is end of attack. If your opponent has no Digimon and your Gallantmon name, you gain, or Gallantmon name, you gain 2 memory. And then 4 copies of the brand new EX8 War Gallantmon X antibody. Evolves on a War Gallantmon for 1. When digivolving, gain 3,000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn, and you can't be returned to the hand or deck. If you have the War Gallantmon or X antibody underneath, you can pop something with 10,000 less. Inherent is generic sec +1. This is a ratio that I would change. As you can see, it kind of differed away from the traditional law and physics going over here. So yeah, and that was kind of like a mistake that I kind of like noticed during my during the locals. I will drop one of these for a other copy of War Gallantmon, probably the War Gallantmon from BT17, where you can pop something with, I believe, 6,000 S. If you don't, you gain sec +1 for the turn, and the inherent is at end of attack. If you when attacking, if you pop something, you can unsuspend, allowing you to get that probably the potential extra check for the actual game. So that's what I would probably do. But this is what I played at locals, and yeah, I was seeing War Gallantmon X a lot more than I was seeing War Gallantmon, just because in this deck we have more ways to search War Gallantmon X antibody than we do with War Gallantmon. But I love War Gallantmon X. The extra security tag is absolutely phenomenal. It's something that Gallantmon has been needing for quite a long time. Just a nice generic sec +1. And yeah, these wouldn't take these cards out, but I would reduce this by 1. Moving on to the Megas, we're playing 3 copies of Gallantmon from BT17. Costs 3 memory, which is very important. When digivolving and when attacking, pop something with 4,000 or less. 8,000 or less. If you don't, you gain 3,000 DP and blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. And your turn, if you're 0 or less memory, you are unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects. This enables you to be protected from ace cards and other such cards, because mostly when you get into the Gallantmon, you've been dancing around the memory gauge and you're probably at 0 memory. So this effect protection is most likely live, or you'll probably be at 1 memory, which then lets you evolve into your brand new EX8 Gallantmon X antibody. This card is nuts. So it can evolves for 4 on red, yellow, and blues. I really need to mess around with that blue coloring now that we have in Gallantmon. So costs 4 memory on those, or 1 on a Gallantmon. So what he does is when digivolving and when attacking, not once per turn, give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 4000 DP. Then you can give yourself 4000 DP. You do need Gallantmon or X antibody in your evolution cards to gain that ability. The other effect though, which is when digivolving and end of attack, but is once per turn, you delete an opponent's Digimon with 10,000 DP or less. If you don't, you trash your opponent's top security card and you unsuspend. Absolutely bonkers. This allows you with the stack to get 5 checks on your opponent's security, which is absolutely insane. So the last ability is that all turns, if you are at 0 or less memory, you are unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects. Absolutely insane card. Love this card to bits. You know, it may be the standard artwork, but I love this artwork. Absolutely phenomenal. And combos very well with your Gallantmon and your Grandma X antibody. My other level 6 that I was toying around with, but I will be taking out, is unfortunately to the taking out part, but was Medieval Gallantmon from EX8. You can reduce its play cost by 4 by suspending 2 Digimon on the field. It doesn't have to be yours. And it has Vortex and Alliance. So Vortex is if you essentially gain Rush and Blitz simultaneously when you are played. But you can only attack opposing Digimon. You can't attack your opponent's security. But the when digivolving ability is suspend a Digimon full stop. Then you can delete an opponent's Digimon 8,000 DP or less. For every suspended Digimon in the field, you add 3,000 to this ability. And its other ability is that all turns, once per turn when a Digimon is played, you can trigger this Digimon's when digivolving effect. So essentially, he sees himself always being played. So if you do play him for 7 memory, you will be able to trigger his when digivolving effect to suspend and delete something. But bear in mind that it also means that when you're someone on your opponent's turn, they play something, you can just get rid of it. So I did a little play test and Gallantmon Mirror. I had this on the field suspended. My opponent hard dropped a Rush Gallantmon for 5 memory, putting him at 0. And I was like, okay, cool. Trigger when Digimon, suspend your Digimon, delete something 8,000 less, buffed to now 6,000 because there's 2 suspended Digimon in the field. Delete something 14k, bye bye Gallantmon. And you're like, he's like, I hate you. But unfortunately, as much as I love this card and this alternate artwork, is absolutely phenomenal. I'm thinking of taking him out of the deck for a card that I'll tell you later. To round up the megas we are playing, and the Digimon 2 copies of Crimson Modays. You know, it's Crimson Modays. Moving on to Tamers, and the only Tamer we're playing in the deck, if you're paying attention, not to sound rude, you probably guessed what it is. And it's just 4 copies of Cool Boy. So, the original concept of the original Greymon deck was that it was a concept I took from another YouTuber's or another video that I found on YouTube, is that we're not playing mem setters, we're just playing cards that see cards. So he just played 4 Cool Boys, and back then it was just 4 memory boosts, but I tried 2 mem boosts and 2 trainings. So the idea is, again, you just want to play cards that see cards. You don't want to play anything else. So this is a Takato-less build, and it works. It really does work. But saying that, I do want to drop the Medieval Gallant, or maybe one of the Crimson modes. I'm not too sure. One of these is going to be dropped for 1 copy of Blitz Takato. I'll just get to the last card in the deck is 1 copy of Red Scramble. Because the theory behind Blitz Staccato is probably why it's going to be the medieval Gallant in the end, is that I want to have the ability to that if I have 3 memory, it's back to my turn, my Gallant is on the field, which most likely it will be. I'm at 3 memory, or I can get to 3 memory. I want the ability to just hard up a Staccato for 3 memory. I'm at 0, now evolve into Crimson mode. You know, trash my swing, trash my whole opponent's top security because I now have Blitz, you know, and just go for the game there. Essentially having a Blitz Omnimon, but being searchable in the deck, because you can search this and you can search Staccato, and it's a double hit of this. So that's what I'm going to also add to the deck. But I'm also wanting to take out 2 of the red trainings for just 4 memory boosts. Training didn't really come up much at all in terms of like being a training card, and was more of just, you know, oh, I'm paying 1 less memory to see 2 less cards. So there was moments where I just wanted the memory, not the cost reduction. So I am just going to swap these out and just put in 4 memory boosts, just nice and simple. See more into my deck and just get 3 flexible memory instead of reducing my evolution cost, because I'm not really needing that. I also have Red Scramble to reduce my evolution cost if I need to. Red Scramble was amazing, especially in Gallantmon, because you can just spawn back the Rush Gallantmon. But being able to just pay 2 evolve into a Mega for 2 memory essentially is just, you know, great. It may seem like, oh, it's only 1, but 1 memory can matter a lot for you new players out there. So, you know, don't take that with a, you know, grain of salt. Or, I'm not sure if that's how you can phrase that, but yeah. Yeah. That, guys, is the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy this crazy tech on Gallantmon. Essentially, what I want this deck profile to show you guys is that don't look away from this card. Like, Callboy is gotten so much better in Gallantmon because we have this X line. This whole X line, everything about them is great. Consistency, sec plus, delete, draw cards, give yourself recovery, like recursion, like more memory. Like, it's like everything about this X line is so strong. In Gallant X as well, you obviously can't forget about him. Like, everything about it is so good. So being able to just play Core Boys, see more cards, you're only paying 2 memory, see more cards, get further into your deck, get all your combo pieces, and you essentially always, I always just pushed out a Groundmon. I was always just pushing out Groundmon, going to a Groundmon X, drawing cards, tapping Core Boys, gaining in memory, gaining more cards, going to a War Groundmon, you know, like, just the plays just kept going on and on and on. I was just constantly keeping it to my turn, constantly climbing up the stack, getting to my Gallantmon X, removing the things, clearing the whole field and 5 security. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, and they couldn't really do anything back to me because it's on their turn. It's essentially is immune to all their Digimon. So unless they have option cards, this guy's sticking around. And if they dare swing, they're threatened by this. So, like, you're always safe. And, like, Callboy helps you get into that because it sees you cards. And I mean, it does get you the memory. So, yeah, again, that's the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. Last thing to say what I'll be swapping out. I'm going to be taking out one of the War Groundmon X for a 5th War Groundmon. So it's 4-3 split. So you've got that nice consistent ratio there. And probably the medieval is going to be taken out for a Staccato from EX8. And the 2 trains are going to be swapped for 2 extra memory boosts. So it's just, you know, 3 memory and extra further search. But guys, that's the list. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below what you think about this and what you playing with your Gallantmon list. How you playing your Gallantmon lists. Love to hear your thoughts down below and get that chat going. So as always, like, comment and subscribe. Till next time, as always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.